All right, today we're going to look at section 4.3, and the first part says use your calculator to evaluate the trigonometric function. Round your answers to 4 decimal places. Make sure you're in the correct mode. So as you do these problems, it's important to look at what are they asking and what kind of angle. So this one's in degrees, this one's in degrees, this one's in degrees, this one's in degrees. These two, they don't have a degree symbol, so we assume we're in radians. So you're going to have to be going back and forth with your calculator, changing your mode. So you have to be very careful. So our first one, I need to make sure I'm in degrees. I am. So I'm going to quit. And it says cosine of 28. So just hit the cosine button, 28 degrees. You don't have to put the degree symbol since you are in the degree mode. All right, rounding. When you round to 4 decimal places, you need to look at the 5th decimal. If the 5th decimal is 5 or higher, you will round up. So that's a 4, so you won't. So that's 0.8829. B, tangent of 34 degrees, 12 minutes and 51 seconds. So tangent, 34. Now we have to go to put the degree symbol. So we go second, half. There's the degree. 12, second, half. Go down to minutes. And 51. And remember, our seconds are over here right above the plus sign in green. So that means I have to hit alpha plus. You can close your parenthesis, but you don't have to. And you're going to hit enter. Again, you're going to look at the 5th decimal. It's a 6, so that 9 is going to round up. So 0.6799 will become 0.6800. Part C, cosecant. Well, there is not a cosecant button on your calculator, but you need to remember that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So you need to type in 1 over the sine of 12.6 degrees. Remember, you're always taking the sine, cosine, tangent of an angle. So the sine needs to precede the angle. A lot of people think you're going to go the sine of 1 over the angle. Well, no, the angle is 12.6, so we do 1 over the sine of 12.6. So 1 divided by sine 12.6, close your parentheses. Again, we look at the 5th decimal, it's a 4, so the 1 stays the same. So 4.5841. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so I'm going to type in 1 over the tangent of 19 degrees, 16 minutes and 26 seconds. So 1 divided by tangent, 19 second half degree, 16 second half, go down minutes, and 26 again. Seconds is above the plus sign in green, so alpha plus, enter. We need to look at the 5th digit, it's a 2, does not change my answer, so 2.8597. All right, like we said earlier, these last two do not have degree symbols, so we're assuming these are in radians. So I have to change my mode, and I need to put that in radians, and then quit out. And then so then I would just do sine of 2.1, enter. So not sine, 1. Yes, 0.8632. And then secant of 3.9, I'm going to do 1 over cosine 3.9. And so that's negative 1.3775. All right, these next questions say find the value of theta in degrees between 0 and 90. And it says, and in radians without a calculator. So this means these are our special triangles. So let's go ahead and draw our special triangles. We'll make this 30, this 60, side opposite 30 is 1, side opposite 90 is 2, and opposite 60 is radical 3. And then the 45, 45, 90, the sides opposite 45 are 1, and the hypotenuse is radical 2. So this is asking you the sine of what angle is radical 3 over 2. Well, the only triangle that has a radical 3 is this one. So I know it's not going to be a 45-degree angle. It's going to either be a 30-degree angle or a 60-degree angle. Well, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So if I'm sitting here, opposite is 1, hypotenuse is 2. So it's not that. But if I'm sitting here at 60, opposite is radical 3, hypotenuse is 2. So theta is 60 degrees. In radians, that's pi over 3. Cosine theta is radical 2 over 2. Well, guess what? The only triangle that has a radical 2 in it is this one, so it has to be a 45-degree angle. So that's going to be theta is 45 degrees. In radians, that is pi over 4. Tangent is radical 3. Well, tangent is opposite over adjacent. Again, we're looking at this triangle. Where do you need to be sitting in order to do opposite over adjacent and get radical 3? Well, if you're sitting here and you do opposite over adjacent, you get 1 over radical 3. And when that gets rationalized, that's radical 3 over 3. So it's not that. I'm just going to double check the 60. If I do opposite over adjacent, I get radical 3 over 1, which reduces to radical 3. So theta is 60 degrees. In radians, again, that's pi over 3. And lastly, cotangent theta is 1. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Well, if I'm here and I do adjacent over opposite, 1 divided by 1, that means my angle is 45 degrees. Again, in radians, that's pi over 4. So just 30 is pi over 6, 60 is pi over 3, and 45 is pi over 4. Down here, it says find the value of theta in degrees between 0 and 90, and in radians between 0 and pi over 2, using a calculator. So what we can do is we could do all of these in degrees first, and then we'll come back and do them in radians. So let's go change my mode and go to degrees, and then I'm going to quit. And I'm trying to find an angle. So when I do this in my calculator, I have to do second cosine 0.9848 and enter. So we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So that's going to be 10 degrees. I'll move on to cosine. So I have to do B second cosine of 0.8746. That's 29 degrees. Over here, second sine 0.347. Oops. 0.3746. So theta is 22 degrees. And lastly, second tan 2.4567. And that's 67.85, 67.9 degrees. And then we can go to radians. So we'll change our mode. We'll go into radians, quit out, start over. Second cosine 0.9848. And let's round these to 4 decimals. So theta is 0.1746 radians. You could also take 10 degrees and convert, and then it'll be a little bit off, but probably not much. Second cosine 0.8746. 0.5062. Second sine, 0.3746. 0.3840, and lastly, second tan, 2.4567, 1.18423. If you were going to do a secant one, let's say secant theta was 2.4367. You're going to have to do secant is reciprocal of cosine. So you're going to have to do cosine inverse 1 over 2.4367. So basically, you're going to just take this and rewrite it as a cosine. Reciprocal of secant is cosine. Reciprocal of that is 1 over that particular angle, and then just do inverse cosine of so and so. So in this case, it would be second cosine 1 divided by 2.4367. So that would be 1.1479 in radians. All right, on the back. Not sure if I can zoom in here. Let's try. It's a little small. All right. So on these, we have the special right triangles, and we are given one side, and we need to find a missing side. So instead of doing 1, 1, and 1 radical 2, I'm going to rewrite these in terms of x's. So this would be x, this would be x, and this would be x radical 2. Well, this is telling me that x equals 5, because I know that side is 5. So if x is 5, the hypotenuse has to be 5 radical 2. On the 30, 60, 90, this side is x, this side is 2x, this side is x radical 3. So if this side is 8 and that's x, this side has to be twice that, so the hypotenuse is 16. This is x, this is x, this is x radical 2. So x is 12, the hypotenuse would be 12 radical 2. This side is 2x, this side is x, this is x radical 3. Well, if 2x equals 24, that means x is 12, which is that would be this side. So there you go. So this is x, x, and x radical 2. So I need to write an equation with the given side and what I know this side is equivalent to in terms of the ratio. So x radical 2 equals 12. I'm solving for x, so I divide both sides by radical 2. So I get x equals, I have to rationalize. So 12 radical 2 over 2, which is 6 radical 2. And then finally on this side, this is x radical 3, and this is 2x. So I know that 2x equals 18, so x equals 9. So this side is 9 radical 3. So that is notes for section 4.6. You'll come into class, work on your homework on this section. Tomorrow we'll review our quizzes block day. See you soon.